everybody, what is going on? This is Greg here with Midnight Movies, and I want to welcome you back. This is going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited. One of my all-time favorite franchises from when I was a teenager. I love them. There's been 3 films so far, but guess what? Not for long. Stand by. We're going to talk about Beverly Hills Cop, Axel Foley.
My name's Axel Foley.
And what is pertaining?
I didn't understand what you said.
It's meaning, regarding.
Oh, what's it regarding?
Serious?
No, I cannot. It's serious because it's very important, base.
So picture this, Christmas 1985, here I am in Florida as a young kid, 12 years old. So here I am opening it, Christmas Day. I was so excited to get this movie. Of course, between you and me, I had already steamed it open and watched it about 5 times. But that's just, what you do when you're a kid. You don't want your mom to know that you already seen it. So you're probably asking yourself, why now would you want to, make another Beverly Hills Cop movie after 30 years? Since the last one came out, 40 since the first. Well, it's been in development hell for about that long. So originally they had thought about doing a TV show, and they had put a pilot together and filmed it, and they had Eddie Murphy in the pilot as Axel Foley, and the main character was actually going to be his son. However, there was some dispute about Eddie Murphy being a recurring character in the show, and they decided that they weren't going to follow through with it because Eddie Murphy didn't want to be in a TV show more than just this one time. So this pilot was for naught, and it was basically just canceled, shelved, and delayed the process of making a new Beverly Hills Cop movie for several years. So jump ahead to the mid-2010s, 2010 to 2013, and they were back. Paramount Pictures was talking about, hey, why don't we do a movie again, a 4th movie? So they were talking about doing a 4th movie with Jerry Bruckheimer back on board as producer. So they went through quite a few different directors and scripts trying to figure out how exactly they wanted to do this movie. And so, years go by, just trying to develop it. It wasn't that they just decided to bring back Beverly Hills Cop to do any kind of nostalgia baiting or a cash grab on something that, is capitalizing on, say, the Top Gun Maverick movie, which turned out to be quite a hit, which, funnily enough, is produced also by Jerry Bruckheimer. So I feel like that this movie's in good hands with somebody like that anyway. So by 2013, Jerry Bruckheimer, he was back on board, and they were putting together plans to do a 4th movie. We were past the TV show, and they're thinking, hey, let's do a movie. Let's see if we can't pull this together, put a script together. And so from 2013 to 2019, it was going through this slow process of being, hacked out. The script was being developed. They were back and forth on actors or whatever the process is. There was like a 5-year period where they were trying to put this together. That's quite a long time. It's amazing to me that they didn't just shelve it permanently and they actually pulled it off. Anyway, it wasn't until like 2019 and Paramount had finally put together a deal with Netflix, which is an interesting pick. Previously, Eddie Murphy had done a film, the Coming to America film, with a Netflix release. Over the years, the project has taken on different directors with different visions, and finally they settled on Mark Malloy. He is the one that directed the film. It is now currently in post-production. It's probably well past that. And I'm thinking the finishing touches are being done, maybe some reshoots at this point, but the movie is set to be released next year. Other difficulties that they ran into with trying to put this project together was just trying to get the city of Beverly Hills to cooperate. They were feeling that the vibe of the city had changed since the 1980s. This was definitely a challenge that the producers had to overcome to convince Beverly Hills to even allow them to film in that area. Another thing to consider is the pandemic we had recently. That shut down a lot of productions, and this movie was not isolated from that. I suppose all I can really say about this is that most movies take way longer to make than people assume they do, and sometimes it takes years to bring something to the screen. This particular movie took a lot of years. Paramount retains the rights to the Beverly Hills Cop franchise, however, this one is being produced with Netflix. So whether or not this movie makes it to an actual theater is still up in the air. I'm hopeful that it comes out. For my own personal reasons, it would be awesome to see a fourth film in the theater.
Then I don't know what y'all think I am. Take me for some kind of fool. Hurry up, quicker!
All right, let's talk about the cast of Beverly Hills Cop Axel Foley. That's right. Most of the original cast is actually going to be back. Judge Reinhold will be back as Billy Roseblood. John Ashton is returning as John Taggart. Bronson Pinchot will be back as Surge, and Paul Reiser as Jeffrey. Now, I don't know if you remember that character, but he spent most of Beverly Hills Cop 2 riding around in that Ferrari pretending like he was Axel. So when Axel was in Beverly Hills, nobody knew he was gone. Taylor Page will be in the film. She's going to be playing Axel Foley's daughter and the driving force behind the reason that Axel Foley is called back to Beverly Hills. Kevin Bacon will be in Beverly Hills Cop Axel Foley, and I can't tell you how excited I am to hear that. Kevin Bacon has been in so many great movies. He's such a good actor. And from my guess, if this is totally speculation, I'm thinking that he's going to be the antagonist of the piece. And if that's true, then I think we're in for a real treat, because a movie is only as good as the antagonist. If you have a weak antagonist or bad guy, you usually end up with a bad movie or a weak movie. So, yep, Kevin Bacon is going to be in Beverly Hills Cop Axel Foley as well. And rounding out the cast is Joseph Gordon-Levitt. He will also be playing in the film. My guess is he's going to be one of the younger detectives in Beverly Hills that Axel's actually going to be teaming up with to solve whatever crime is placed in front of him in the new movie. So Beverly Hills Cop came out in 1984. The original film was directed by Martin Brest and produced by Jerry Bruckheimer. This movie was a phenomenal success and has become an 80s icon, and if you haven't seen this one, I definitely recommend it. It's a very good movie, and it's currently streaming on Paramount+. So Beverly Hills Cop, in my rating system, is going to get an 8 out of 10. An 8 out of 10 is a very good score, and I consider that to be a most excellent film. So in 1987, Beverly Hills Cop 2 was released, and it was also directed by Tony Scott. Tony Scott also directed the original Top Gun that came out in 1986, so we had a really good director at the helm of this one. Anyway, Beverly Hills Cop 2, I would definitely give that an 8.5. Now, when I say 8.5, that means Beverly Hills Cop 1 and 2 to me are equally as good as each other. They're both 8s. But because of my personal liking of this one a little more, if I were to go, hey, which one would I want to watch first, or hey, you want to watch a Beverly Hills Cop? Which one do you want to watch? I would watch this one first. And then finally, you got Beverly Hills Cop 3. So Beverly Hills Cop 3 was a bit of a dud, and I mean, in the theaters, it didn't do that well. And the problem was that it was produced and directed by a different person entirely, by John Landis. Style the movie the way the first two were, which makes it feel a little different and out of place. His style is different out of the three, but it's certainly better than some of the movies that Eddie Murphy did a little later on. So how would I rate Beverly Hills Cop 3? Well, I'm going to weight it a little higher than what you would expect, only because I really like the first part of the movie where, Inspector Todd is there and he gets shot. There's some spoilers here, but Inspector Todd has been, or Axel Foley's boss in Detroit throughout the whole series so far. And in the first movie and the second movie, they had this kind of yelling cop, he'd yell at him, the kind of boss kind of thing going on where he'd yell at him. And he was just really being his mentor is what he was doing. He was very fond of Axel, so that's the reason why they had this good relationship. And then so for him to get shot at the beginning of Beverly Hills Cop 3 gave it a lot more weight to me as far as my feelings on it. But then when he gets to Beverly Hills, the movie just kind of falls flat and gets a little silly. And it's not as well put together as the first two films. The villain in the movie is not too terrible. I like the plot. It's a good plot. It's just not as good as the first two. So I'd give this one a 6.5, and I'm giving him an extra 5 points because of the Inspector Todd scene. I'd love to have a discussion about these films, and perhaps and hear what you think and how you feel about a new Beverly Hills Cop movie coming out.
Excuse me.
Come on, let's go.